A very good morning, everyone. Right back at Sadok Crown Court, where the trial of former Minister of Petroleum, Diezani, Alison Madueke, her brother, and Olatimbo, and they are currently going on. Probably many of you will have noticed that it's gone very, very quiet in the past 1 week. Reason being that this week there was no action. By now, the defendants or the parties involved should have been marching, walking towards this court as court opens 9:30 on Fridays. But all through this week, nothing has happened. It's all gone cold. And that is true, no fault of Diezani or the other two defendants. As a matter of fact, just to give you a little background, last week, which was week 3, the court only sat for just 1 day, just sat for just a day or two, because I know the reason, but we are under reporting restrictions why the court did not sit. The court was forced to adjourn, was forced to adjourn around the middle of last week. Thursday, there was no sitting at all. Of course, Friday, there was no sitting. Wednesday, also no sitting. So last week, we lost 3 precious court dates. So, like I said, I know the reason why the court could not sit, and also, but we are under strict restrictions which have legal implications. So I cannot say why the court couldn't sit last week. And also the whole of this week, we should have been week 4, we should have been completing week 4 by today. There was no action at all. As of last Friday, a court information told me that until Monday 23rd, Monday, which is next Monday, which will be week 5. And as I've mentioned in previous broadcast, we're going all the way to end of April. This is supposed to be a 12-week trial, and now we've lost about 1.5 weeks. So we do not know. Probably this trial is going to go into early May, or whether they're going to find a way to squeeze it in. Hopefully, the court will be back, or the action will resume on Monday, which is just next week, which will be the beginning of week 5. So, as also mentioned previously, this is a trial that is like a marathon. As in marathon races, anybody who has run marathon, we know that there are twists and turns. Sometimes front runners are, suddenly disappear. That is what has happened here. This is a marathon trial. It's 3 months, 12 weeks, and we are not yet halfway. The normal marathon, even before halfway, you see some people disappearing. You see pace setters. You see, there is a lot of things happening. That is what has happened with this Diezani trial. It's a marathon of 12 weeks. Like I said, just less than halfway, week 3 last week, the drama, the twist, and I know the reason as mentioned earlier also, but we are under reporting restrictions which cannot be said to the public. And also the whole of this week, we should have been week 4. We should be ending week 4 as of today, but nothing has happened. So that is what has happened. When they say life happens, it's not just something which is for the lazy or just an idle talk. Even in judiciary, in the judicial system, like here, life has happened. The trial has been forced to adjourn we've lost court days. And for those of you in the UK, you will understand a recent report, a recent publication of Justice Leveson. He was talking about the backlog in the judicial system here, that it's really appalling. So these are the things that contribute. This is a trial that was supposed to be for 12 weeks. And like I said, we lost the whole of this week number 4. Week number 3, half of it was lost. So these are the things. So obviously, or most likely, this trial is going to eat into court time, into time will probably affect other things, but we still do not know. We are probably just getting, this is just 1/3 of the race. So hopefully when the trial resumes on Monday, the court might give a further guideline, or if the timetable is going to be amended in whichever way. And also just to bring to your notice, so far the Crown has been the one bringing in the witnesses, as in a trial or any court case, the prosecution, we have to finish their case before the defense comes on. So it's the Crown that has been on their feet so far. They've called a couple of witnesses, and even the last, before the court was supposed to adjourn last week, it was still the Crown. So they've not finished their case. They have not finished. They are not even, because out of 12 weeks, they haven't done even 1/3. So the Crown is still on their feet. They're still the one having the floor. And like I said, now that we've lost this entire week number 4, and last week the court only sat for half of the week. I know the reason as mentioned, but we are under reporting legal restriction, which I cannot tell you why the judge, the court, the judge has to adjourn until Monday. So this is live here at Southern Crown Court. By now, we should have been finishing week number 4, but the whole of this week, nothing happened through no fault of Diezani or our 2 defendants, but being a marathon trial, things happen, twists and turns have happened, it has happened, and then nothing happened this week. Last week was just half. So the adjournment, we are hopefully the court should come back on Monday. But if not, I don't know what is going to happen, that we have lost almost 1.5 weeks out of 12 weeks. So these are the things the court will probably give new guidelines on Monday when they come back. By this afternoon, I should know for certainty the court will let us know whether Monday they are set. So Diezani and Co, they've had the whole of this week off. And like I said, this is live at Southern Crown Court. We should have been finishing week number 4 now out of 12 weeks. But now that this week has been lost, all half of last week was also lost. I know the reason, but like I said, there is a reporting restriction whereby we are not allowed to say the reason why the court has been forced to adjourn, losing an entire week, losing and also half of last week. One of my sources has told me that when the court resumes, among the Crown witnesses that will be coming to the witness box will be a witness, at least one witness from Nigeria should be here next week. That is if the court resumes. I do not know, my source didn't say who, but the Crown has many witnesses, and one witness is expected to come from Nigeria next week to come and take the witness stand in this multi-million pound trial of former Minister of Petroleum Diezani, our brother Bishop Doye Agame, and the 3rd defendant, Olatimbo Ayinde. So they've had 1 week, the barristers, the judge, everybody has been off, and hopefully the court will come back on Monday, which will be week number 5. But as mentioned earlier, this trial was originally scheduled to end last week of April, having lost 1 week, entire week number 4, this entire week. When we come back on Monday, we probably have to hear, if the court is going to extend it or if they are able to squeeze in what was missing, what was lost this entire week into the remaining period. As you can see, other people are coming to court, but there is definitely no sign of Diezani, no sign of the barristers, the lawyers involved in this case until next week because it's been adjourned since the middle of last week, and that is through no fault of Diezani or the other two defendants. As they say, life happens, life has happened in this trial, and we are just even not up to 1/3 of it yet. But just to wrap up, I cannot tell you the reason. I know the reason we are under reporting restrictions, which have legal implications, which forbids me from mentioning why the trial was forced to adjourn and why we have lost an entire week. Thank you. I hope to give you updates on Monday when the court is supposed to be back for week number 5. Week number 5. Monday definitely is week 5 out of 12 weeks. I'll see you then.